Hi guys, thank you for being interested in this tutorial, which in this one we are going to talk about everything that you can do with images in Figma. Well, everything, hoping I'm not missing anything, but that is definitely most of it. Spoiler, Figma is not Photoshop, okay? For kind of like complex photo editing, merging images and so on, well, Figma is not exactly built for it, or maybe to do some cutouts with some fading around it and you know, like this kind of editing is not possible in Figma, but of course there's a lot we can do in Figma and I will show that. So we're gonna go over importing images, easy as it editing, like the editing abilities that Figma gives you in Figma, cropping, using it as a tile or fit, what's the difference and how exactly does it behave. Remove background, BG is a shortcut for background, so removing background with a plugin and a mask, okay. Fill plus opacity and blending, so also some you know, kind of like tricks that you can do with opacity, different layer fields inside a shape and so on. And the time machine effect, I mean, this is a name that I called it, but yeah, it pretty much looks like this. So this is the one. I took this image and made it look like that in Figma. Honestly, it's a few minutes work and that's it. I mean, when I show it, it's going to take maybe just a bit than a few more minutes, but it's not that. I mean, it's not that long when you learn how to do it. It is pretty easy, much easier than it looks. So this one, and taking it back in time to be like this one. Okay, so let's jump in. Okay, we have our working panels and let's start working. So importing images to Figma, pretty easy. You can do it in I guess 3 ways. I mean, you can do it from here, place image. By the way, image is not just an image as JPEG or PNG, it can also be an SVG, which is a vector, but in this tutorial we're not talking about vectors, but it works for that as well. So place image, I'm gonna click on it and then I see these images here, some vectors as well, or I can do that from the menu. Here you have file and place image, it does exactly the same. Or if you are on a PC, then it's Control Shift K, PC like me. I'm working on a PC from choice and I love working on PC. And if you're on a Mac, so that's perfectly fine. I forgive you, that's okay. I'm joking, of course. And you can do Command Shift K. So if I do that, Control Shift K, so there you go. Okay, so it opens that folder. You can either drag it and throw it in your file. That's one way of doing it. You can either select it and click the open, or you can select more than one. Let's say I select these 3, open, and then it shows you here that you have 3 images to place in your file. So I'm just gonna go here, I'm gonna click on the first one, which is pretty big. I'm gonna click on this one and I'm gonna click on this one. So there you go, I just placed these 3 images. Of course you can select where you want to place them in your file, but yeah, so you can place more than one like that. That's pretty easy. The second thing that you can do, you can just click on an image here, or just directly from here, right click, copy image, and then you can just go back to your Figma and just Control or Command V, and there you go. You just paste it here, which it does nothing. Why? Let me see. Again, copy image, and let me see, Control V, and there we go. Yeah, somebody grabbed it on the way. I guess, yeah. So you got that image, pretty nice one actually. So we have it pasted inside our file. Great. So really, anyway, dragging from a folder, selecting and pasting here, or just copy image from the browser, or any, you know, of course, any disk, or meaning like a disk on key. Yeah. So you get that, that's pretty easy. Okay, cool, so we got that covered. I think that's pretty straightforward and easy. Let's just place them here. Okay, let's go to the next one, easy editing. So of course, as you know, I can I mean, as you know or not, I'm correcting myself. You can click on this. Basically, it's a rectangle that the feel of it is the image. As you see now, the feel of this rectangle is the image. I can click on that, okay? And when I click on it, I get these actually options to edit this image, okay? Exposure, less, make it darker, or more, make it brighter, exposure to the sun, and we have a sun in this image, so it works out pretty nice actually. I mean, like, it's really there. You see the sun kind of like getting brighter or darker, meaning like we're close to the evening time. Okay, so that's that. Contrast. What contrast that does basically, if you're familiar of it or not. So a contrast actually takes the darker color pixels and makes them a bit darker, and it takes the bright ones and make them brighter. So that's why you get like a higher contrast, meaning a higher difference between the light ones and the darker ones. Okay, and if you make it less, then you see that it kind of like it gets grayed a bit, because you know it reduces the differences between these pixels. Saturation, more colors, and less colors to make it black and white. Okay, and you have the temperature, colder and warmer. So you can do like more warm colors, cold. It looks kind of like colder in the colors. Yeah, blue is colder, kind of like yellowish. Orange is kind of like warmer. Tint, it's like you do like that. I mean, you can change the tints of the colors inside this image. Highlights, again, it's like contrast, but you work on just highlights or just shadows, so you can make them brighter or darker, and it does basically the same thing as a contrast does. Okay, cool. Now, cropping. Okay, so if we take this image, let's go on this image, that's okay. Cropping, actually, you can decide. Now it sits in a rectangle, okay? If I go into a crop mode, so now you see that I can make this rectangle smaller. Okay, I can just drag this image inside it and decide actually which part of the image actually is going to be seen in this rectangle. Okay, you can even kind of like do something like that. I can even rotate this rectangle, or I can rotate the image. Okay, so I can do something like that. When I hit and gives me kind of like a vertigo. Yeah, so I hit the enter and then you get the image like that. Yeah, it looks weird, or it looks like down the hill or something. That's okay. So when it's on a crop mode, look at that, it's on a crop mode. So now actually, if you notice, let me show the difference. So this one actually is a fill, meaning that no matter how I will play with the size of this rectangle, it will always fill it. I mean, the image will always fill it regardless if the whole image fits correctly in the rectangle. Let me show what I mean. If I will make it shorter, you will say I can make it like that, so it's gonna cut the cat's head because it just doesn't fit the proportions. It just makes sure that it will always stay in the middle, vertically and horizontally. So no matter how I play with this image, if I'll make it now like that, you will see that the cat goes either like that or like that, so it will always fill the image. Okay, so this is the behavior of a fill. Now this one is on crop. You will see that now when I make this rectangle higher, it will distort the proportion of the image, because now you are on crop. Okay, so it doesn't know to kind of like keep filling the image all the time when you actually cropped it. Here, if I go back to fill, it's gonna set the image immediately like that, and now it's gonna behave as a fill. Okay, so this is the difference between crop and fill. Now we will see how the tile and fit actually works. Okay, so if I put it on tile, let's take you know what, let's stay with this image, that's okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna put it on tile. Okay, on tile, it means that now I can make it either bigger or smaller, and it will always fill with more tiles of the same image, by the way, just to fill this rectangle. Now when I hit enter, you will see that when I make this rectangle bigger, it will just put more tiles, okay, like that or like that. It's kind of repeating this image, of course, depending on the rectangle's size, okay. So that's what it does. It doesn't stretch it or distort it. It just puts more tiles according to the size of this rectangle, okay. So that's what a tile does. Now a fit, actually, let's put it on fit. A fit is gonna keep the proportion. Let's do it not on this one. Yeah, let's do it on fit. Okay, so it keeps the proportions of the image regardless of the size of the rectangle that holds it, meaning it doesn't fill it, it keeps its proportions all the time. So if I go like that or like that, it keeps on fitting the image according to its proportions, okay? Meaning that if you give actually another fill to this image, sorry, to this rectangle, if I'll give it another fill, okay, and I will take this fill, actually I can grab this one, you see, I can grab the image and put it on top of the fill. So it's gonna be on top. I can give this fill, let's say 100%. And I can make it, of course, any color that I want. Let's say I want to make it orange, like that. So you'll have this orange sides on this image, or if you make it higher, you're going to have it on the top and bottom. So again, it keeps the proportions of the image. That's what a fit does. Okay, so we went over all these situations. So we have fill, fit, crop, and tile. Done. Check. We're done with that. Okay, now we have the remove background either by a plugin or a mask. Okay, so let's say the difference. Let's take this image. Well, let's take it down here to the workshop. Okay, now you have a plugin which is called remove background. How surprising. Yes, you have it like that. And by the way, clicking on that, yeah, I opened it before. So remove BG, remove background. And if you are not set with it, it's gonna send you to their website just to set an API key. It's pretty easy. You can just log in with your Gmail and then you just generate an API key, you paste it in the plugin window that opens, and that's it, done. It's really kind of like a 1-minute thing, no biggie. Okay, now if I hit on run, okay, like run or set an API key, so you can do that, or run. So you're gonna get nothing. That, okay, took it some time. Yeah, but you see that it does it kind of like not bad. Look at these kind of like trees and so on. It did it pretty nice, actually. Okay, so if I'll give this rectangle a feel and I want to combine kind of like illustrations with it, so I can give it another feel. I can put the image on top of it and I can give it like a kind of a blue sky, I don't know, something like that, make it 100%. Oh, that's too much. I'm gonna give it something like that, I guess. And yeah, basically it looks like, you know what, it looks like two of a real sky. It's not what I want. I want something like that and something like that. And you can combine, if you want to make it, I don't know, you want to make a cloud, so you can just make a cloud, something. I'm just making like a fast one, it doesn't matter, kind of like a Super Mario cloud. Anyway, yeah, put something like that, and you can just throw clouds in it, and you know, I don't know, do something like that and do something like that, and you can create kind of like a cool, I don't know, cool thing you want to work with, and that's pretty cool. Okay, so you can do something like that, easy. Remove background. Now remove background actually works pretty nice. It depends on how the background is actually quite similar, I guess, to the image, or to the, let's say, the main character in the image, or the main element that is in the image. Let's try on this one. I'm not pretty sure, I didn't try it before, but let's see how it works. Let's give it a run and see what it does. Pretty nice. But you see, because it's kind of like not very clear, okay, here, so you see that kind of like, yeah, yeah, it's okay, but it's not perfect. Of course, if I'll give it a feel that we can always kind of like let me put this one up and give it this kind of fill and give it, sorry, a 100. So yeah, I mean, you do get it kind of like a nice cutout of it. It's nice. I mean, it's pretty cool. It does it quite fast and quite efficient, but it's not always precise. As you notice here, I've tried it before on this image, and you will see this kind of like green part of these flowers. So you see that if I'll put the remove background and I will give it a run, you will see that this one, you see, that disappeared. I mean, so we did a very nice cutout of that person with what it's holding, she is, sorry, holding in her hands. Pretty nice work, honestly speaking, really nice, okay? But this one kind of like, I don't know, went away. Still, it's very quick, easy, and nice, so you can definitely use that. Now, masking. Let's try the masking. So let's take this image and just put it here. Now, with mask, I mean, on purpose, of course, I'm taking a very easy one, okay? Kind of like working with straight lines. So I'm just going to show it very quickly. I don't want to waste too much time on it. But the principle and the technique of how to do it is quite similar, of course, in all of them, okay? I mean, you can take like more detailed image, just take the pen tool. I'm going to do something like that. I'm going to do it like very rough. I'm not going to be super precise here. So again, I'm just going to do, yeah, I'm going to leave this part out. You can correct it after, so we will do that. I'm just going to give it like a rough selection here, do something like that and that. Okay, and give it yeah, I'm gonna correct it soon, that, and okay, we just put, yeah, okay, something like that, yeah, and this one, and yeah, I'm gonna straight line here. And now actually I'm gonna go like a bit in, take the move tool, and I'm gonna put this one here and this one here. We're gonna give it like a very quick correction. I'm gonna just want to really do it in a few I don't know, in a few minutes, not more than that. Give it something like that. I'm leaving this part out, it doesn't matter right now. It's just to show the technique of how to do it. That's fine, that's fine. And I said, of course, you can take a more detailed one of kind of like work on it more precisely and do it kind of like more neat. Even take a very complex one and do it, you know, kind of like do it the way it should be. Here is just to show how I do it. Yeah, this is, it hints you when it's a straight line with the orange one. Yeah, and I think we're pretty good. Okay, that is cool. And sorry. And now I'm just gonna select, and I mean, this is selected, whatever I did with the pen tool. I'm gonna give it a fill. I'll remove the stroke, we don't need it. And what I'm doing now actually is I'm putting the fill, okay, this is one, this is the, let's call it a mask shape, okay, and this is our image. Good. So I'm gonna take the mask shape, and this is the image number 10, that's the image. Of course, yeah, it's a jungle of names here, but you know, it's just for the just for the tutorial. It doesn't matter that much. I'm gonna put the mask shape behind that image. I'm gonna select them both, and now you can click on use as mask. Boom, and then you have it. You see, you can do a cutout like that. Pretty easy. And of course, if you go to more detailed elements such as this cat, or let's even yeah, her, for example, so you can just work with the pen tool in like really precise dots here between the points that you are working. And yeah, you can do like a more detailed and precise work. Was just really quickly to show how you can do that with a mask. So you can do that, but again, you know, that's pretty, I showed it on a pretty easy example, I'm aware of it, but the technique is definitely and exactly the same. Okay, mask, great, done with that. So we have the remove background and mask checked, and fill plus opacity and blending. So what you can do now actually is let's take this image again. Let's take this image, okay? If I'm taking this image and I'm adding a fill to it, and I'm putting it on top, and let's say I'm giving the fill, let's give it a red color, something like that. I'm going to give it 100%. You can always play with the opacity as you want. That's 100%. Now on this one, if I'll give it, let's say, a 70%, look at that. So now actually we're reflecting this red color on the image because we gave it an opacity. Okay, starting to get the, yeah, this is gonna go there eventually. Yeah, not exactly, with a bit more work, but yeah, eventually it's gonna go there. And you can add more colors, you can reduce the feel, the opacity of the image. You can of course change the way that this image look with just changing the colors. I mean, if I'll just drag it along the color line, so you see how this image actually goes and looks more and more different. Okay, something like that. You can give it, let's say, 90 or 50, and then just, you know, kind of like blend it with the background that it sits on. By the way, it's exactly the same as if I would just do, let's say, a rectangle, give it this color, this one, copy, just Control C and Control or Command V, and I gave it this purple color. I'm gonna copy this one. I'm gonna remove this purple background, give it a leave it on 50% actually, and if I'm just gonna place it where this one is on top and this one we're gonna put it here, if just gonna place it on this rectangle, so you actually get the exact same thing. Okay, so that is like, this is the plus is here, that it's in one shape, it's in one rectangle. Here it's two shapes, but you can definitely do that as well, so as you wish. Okay, so that is the principle of like blending it, or kind of like playing with the opacity and blending with the background itself. Another thing that you can do, let's take this image. Okay, and now you can do blending modes, meaning let's frame it. Okay, frame selection, and let's give the frame kind of a, you know what, let's give it an orange background. So this is the background of the frame. You don't see it because the image is covering it. Okay, if I'll remove the image, if I'll, sorry, not remove it, but just, you know, take it aside, so you see this is the feel of this frame. Okay, now let's try and change the blending modes. Now it's a path through, it's opacity. I'll click on that and give it, the normal does the same, there's no difference, and you can give it darken. So it actually takes the fill color, the orange one behind it, and kind of like blends it in kind of like a darken way on with this image. Now we can do the multiply. So what a multiply does, it kind of like, again, it blends the fill color of the frame and the colors of the image, and kind of like make it something of like a blend of both of them together, which is pretty cool. Okay, multiply. By the way, okay, I'll show a different example in a bit. Color burn, wow, so you get something like that. Ooh, yeah, it's kind of like rough, but again, and you can play of course with the opacity of the image. If I'll make it a 50%, or the less I make it, something like that, so you see that it changes the way that you actually see it. But to think about very kind of like creative stuff that you can do with that. Okay, so that's a color burn. This is a lighten one. And you can actually put more colors behind it. I mean, if I'll do something like that, and behind the image, and let's give it a blue color, something like that. So you see, you can have like, you know, you can play with it or do I don't know, like more creative stuff with it. And of course, when we change that, when we change the blending modes of the image itself, let's give it a multiply, so then you get something like that. So you can really kind of like just play with it and see what gives you the best result that you need in your designs. Okay, soft one, and we go to hard light. That's pretty nice. Okay, this is very nice actually. And you can go with difference, so that gives you something like that. Exclusion, wow, this is like, okay, that looks weird, but you know, again, depends on your needs. Of course, I'm not judging each one in his own needs. Color and luminosity. This is nice one. The luminosity I love. By the way, see that now what I can do, I can give this image, actually take its colors off. I'll give it with the saturation 0 and I make it a black and white. So it kind of like its colors do not interfere with the colors that you see from this rectangle and the background. Okay, great. So that's pretty cool. And we can also do, let's take, you know what, let's here kind of like take faces, I guess, maybe something like that. Okay, let's take, I don't know, let's take this one. Okay, I'm just, I don't know, copy image, just taking free images from Google and Control V. Okay, cool. I'm going to actually put a rectangle like that and give a rectangle like that and do another one that sits actually between them, something like that. Okay, cool. So this one actually is going to be, let's kind of like give it a blue color or something like that, and give these two let's give them kind of like an, I don't know, orange color. Yeah, cool. And the image we're gonna put on top of them, I'm gonna give it a saturation, meaning take down the colors and make it black and white. And here I'm gonna turn on luminosity. You see, very easy. You get kind of like a very cool effect on it. And of course you can play with the sizes of these rectangles to adjust it as you need. Yeah, something like that. And you can even sorry, let me select which one, this one. Yeah, let me select this one and I'm gonna make it bigger. So you see, you can do either that or that. Pretty cool. By the way, this color comes from the background of the file itself. So you see, you can do that and that. Pretty cool. And you can just frame it, by the way, frame selection. And you can actually export it as a PNG or a JPEG. You can export it as an image, and you can just go with that and just put another one if you want, give it a red color and give it and put it here, and then you go. I mean, very easy to create kind of like cool stuff with these abilities to play with blending modes, colors or not. By the way, you can always you know, if you want to, let me show you another quick thing. Let's take the image and put it here, and I'm gonna put the colors back, and I'm gonna, oh, what happened with that? Okay, so this one, the colors didn't come back. Why is that? Oh, because I'm on luminosity. I didn't get that. Okay, cool. So you can do that. I mean, you can always even kind of like if you want to give it more of a touch, you can always look at that. I mean, I can take this let's say pencil and do something, no, sorry, not here. Let's do something like that. Let me take the pencil again. If I want to give her, let's say, more makeup, so I can do something like that. Okay, do something like that. And I'm gonna actually give it a fill. I'm gonna take off this one, and oh, maybe it's not closed, that's why it didn't kind of like go through. Let me, yeah, it's not closed. Okay, so we're just gonna, yeah, now it's gonna give us the fill. Okay, good. It doesn't really matter how it looks, and I'm gonna fill it with this color, and I'm gonna give it a layer blur effect, something like that. Okay, and I'm gonna play with the opacity and do something like that. There you go. You see how easy actually. Let's give it even like I don't know, 40%. You see, something like that. And you can give her more makeup if you want to. Okay, take it off, put it on, and that is cool. Duplicate it, put it here, flip it, and yeah, something like that. Make it a bit narrower. Good. You see, so easy. You can also do things like that pretty easy. Give her some, I don't know, darker lips and so on if you want to. So yeah, cool. Now, so we're done with that. Blending and so on. Great. Now we're gonna see the time machine effect. Okay, let's do it now. And that is pretty easy. So let's take this image. Okay. Yeah, it's just an image. I don't know, I'm working a lot on this in this tutorial with this image, where it's just, I don't know, kind of like found it comfortable to work with, so that's okay. Yeah, anyway, we're gonna take that. I'm gonna frame it. Okay, you know what, I don't even have to frame it. Let's give it, first of all, I'm gonna give it a background. I'm gonna put it on top. Okay, now it's the background. I'm gonna select, yeah, let's give it kind of like this color. We can always change it, by the way. And I'm gonna give it a 100% opacity. With this one, I'm gonna give it kind of like an 80% opacity. The image itself, I'm gonna take its colors off. You see, already it looks kind of older. Yeah, okay, we just started with it, so that's fine. We can, by the way, we can change the colors. We can make it more like red and more like yellow, so you can do it also like that. That also looks kind of old. Let's leave it like that. That's okay. And I'll even get, you know what, let's leave this opacity for right now. So black and white and the opacity. What I'm gonna do now is search for, let's call it, I'm calling it a old video texture. Yeah, texture. Well, let's see. Yeah, exactly, this one. Okay, I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna copy and I'm gonna paste it. Actually, you know what, let's give it a frame. Just, you know, you can either Control Alt G or just frame selection, and I'm gonna put it here. Okay, cool. Now, by the way, we're gonna click on clip content, and I'm gonna select this image and just put it something like that. Now I'm gonna give this image, let's say, 20% opacity. Okay, we're already kind of there. Nice. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And the last thing that I did, by the way, just kind of like, you see now it looks really old, which is pretty cool. And we can take this one, let's give it a, I'm gonna give it a, sorry, 60. Let's see. You know what, let me even give it more. Let's give it kind of 80. Okay, 80, and I'm gonna do something like that. Okay, you will see in a minute what this guy is doing. This guy, me, I mean, something like that. Yeah, okay, so I did something like that, very easy. Hey, not you, I didn't mean that. Okay, and I'm gonna select that. Now I'm gonna just cut it, Control or Command X, select this frame and Control V, just paste it like that. Cool. Now we're gonna give it like, let's give it a 30% opacity. We'll start with that and see how it works. And now I'm gonna give it a layer blur. Opa, you see how easy we actually created that. That is pretty cool. Something like that. And we can give it, of course, a different color. I mean, I can give it more of a, let's say, orange. Something like that. Wow, that looks really old. Yeah, okay, so this image, you see, only we worked on it kind of like a few minutes and it looks really old. And of course, as I said, let's make it more dark like that. Yeah, cool. Okay, look how easily we created that. And you can always go with the blur, with the blurring of it. Actually, I can go, let's say 80, give it like more blur. You can make it even a bit bigger to take it a bit out or more in, so you can just play with it like that, and there you go, you have an image which looks like really old one. Okay, so that's kind of like giving you a very easy way of creating something like that purely in Figma. Very quick, very easy, and cool. I think basically we covered most of the things that you can do with images. Last thing I would say, that if it wasn't clear, but I'll just make it more clear, that you can actually, wait, let's take this image. Hey, you guys kind of like stayed out. You didn't participate in the tutorial. Okay, so let's take this one. And of course, we can blend the image on an image. I mean, if I just want to take these two, okay, I'll just put them, give them the same size. Okay, and let's give it a multiply, so you can do something like that. Actually, it takes both of them and kind of like, you know, merge them together into one different things. It uses the color of both of them, which is pretty cool actually. So something like that. And if we can give it, yeah, it looks pretty angry, that cat. Yeah, well, angry, but cute angry, not like vicious angry. Okay, and you can do screen, so you get something like that. And yeah, that's pretty kind of like, you know, interesting what you can do with the two images one on another. Luminosity, so you get something like that. And you can also, let me see, overlay, so it does, so you can just go ahead and play with that and see, you know, all the effects that you are getting. And you can even put them like kind of half and half. You can do something like that, you know, kind of like I don't know, give it a different art way. You can actually both together, frame them, close this frame here, clip content, and there you go, you have something like that. So, you know, just be creative, do whatever, but just explore all the options that you can do with images by playing with the blend modes, opacities, fill layers, and so on. I think we kind of like nailed it all the way. I am hoping that this answered all your questions, if you did have some, on what we can do with images in Figma. Thanks a lot, guys, and of course, see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.